Hey there, guys! How's it going? And welcome to the Impact Zone podcast. We're back to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans, and we are having a look at the full Rebellion card. Now, I'm assuming that this is the full Rebellion card because, yeah, it's pretty damn stacked, and, yeah, they could maybe add something else. I don't really know, because Steve Macklin said he's going to make his presence felt. Maybe that's going to happen with the lights out. I don't know. Wait and see. But yeah, anyway, I want to start with the Digital Media Championship, because this is a match that has just been added to the pre-show between Crazy Steve and Laredo Kid. Dude, I don't know, dude. Because, yeah, there is some story there for Laredo to win this title and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. This one has me teetering because, you know, Steve's been champion for a little while, actually. But it feels like he hasn't really been that champion for really quite a while, because he hasn't really had that much stellar going on, honestly. Like, and that's tough. Like, it's it's real tough. So, especially when you've got such a stacked roster to have such a stacked card. And even the pre-show is pretty darn stacked. They've got 3 matches on the pre-show, and that's the pre-show is an hour long. So, like, you know, or the countdown show, or the buy-in, or whatever you want to call it. But still, like, yeah, like, you could see Laredo winning this, but I don't know, dude. Like, it's very tough, I think, and I feel like they honestly haven't put enough into it. I don't know, and it almost feels like, well, where does Steve go from there, or from here, or whatever, that sort of thing. But Laredo has such a great, you know, babyface underdog story that it's like, man, you know, like, I feel sorry for this guy, because he had a legit serious injury and nearly died. So it's like, man, I kind of want to see him, like, pay something off. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll talk about the lights out thing, even though that's just been added as well. I guess that's technically a thing. It's not really a match, it's a segment, I'm guessing. So I want to talk more about that in the Rebellion press conference thing that they did. So, because that was where the whole lights out, you know, promo video kind of got shown, and that. So I'll probably be talking more about the actual, like, promo video there, and that's rather than talking about it too much here, because it's just all speculation. Like, we talked about something already, but it could be something else. Like, it could be almost anything else. Like, there could be a myriad of different things that it could be. They did preference it in certain ways, but I think I'll talk about that more specifically a bit later. But yeah, like, so those are the things that are kind of been added to this card. And Crazy Steve versus Laredo, I guess, I just don't. I like Crazy Steve's run. You know, like, even though it hasn't been as stellar as what I think it should have been, I like Laredo's story, though. I'm feeling very sympathetic towards him. But what could they do? Like, what could they do with Laredo as the champion if he's meant to be an underdog? Like, he can do it, but I don't know. I almost feel like he should be, like, in the world title picture as well, just as a great underdog, and that would seem pretty cool. Because even then, even if he is going to lose in that world title picture, hey, even if it's on like a weekly episode of TNA Impact, at least it's kind of like people are behind him and people, resonate with his story because it's a real freaking story, like so. But I don't know. I don't feel it. I don't know. It just feels like this is some good work that they're trying to do to promote a match, which is good. But again, it's just like you don't feel like, man, this guy's got a chance to win it. He's never really won that many matches in TNA and whatnot. So I don't know. The story that they're telling is interesting, but even in the match that they just had, kind of interesting tale, but still, I don't know. Tough to say. But yeah, anything can happen in professional wrestling, as you sort of say. We've sort of talked about all the other matches that are on this card. I think we have, at least, pretty sure. 90% sure. 90 something percent sure, at least. But yeah, like the 6-man tag between ABC and Slater and the Rascals and Myron Reed. I guess actually I said this about the upcoming tapings that are after this show, that it felt like perhaps like Leon was going into more of a random match with Zachary Wentz. But I guess it has more context here because, again, it's like he was just facing them at Rebellion, so I don't know whether that really translates into a really good story for him, but like it's tough not to just see him in the X division and being like challenging for that X division title, because that's where he belongs. I think he's like either being the champion or challenging to be the champion, like in some regard, like, or on that path, but it also feels tough for like the Rascals to be a tag team as well as be singles wrestlers. It's like that happens a lot, especially with the ABC as well. It feels like that with a lot of teams, like sometimes, especially like the Knockouts tag teams, they feel like they get gutted because they they need challengers for the world title and things like this, or the Knockouts world title. So it's a little bit tricky there too. But I do feel like if you're going to do anything with the Ace and Bay connection, even for a little bit longer, as a babyface team, that they do need to win. But like, you could keep telling this story of descent. You could keep telling this story that they're kind of already on. So yeah, that probably works out. I don't know. It's very tough to sort of put them in that position and yet get them out of it afterwards when you go, well, what direction are we going, etc. How are they breaking up? Because you always want to see someone turn heel, or almost always want to see someone turn heel and someone turn face, or well, more face, I guess. But I don't know. It's tough. I don't want to see either of them as heels, and just like the most of the rest of the card needs baby faces, so I just want to see them both like challenging for here, there, and everywhere and trying to work themselves up the card. I wouldn't mind seeing Ace or Bay going after the digital media title. Like, I don't think that they've got that great of a story there yet, but they could make one. So they could tell that story to get there, and another step in the hunt to get to the world title. And I think Ace would be the best pick there thus far, to kind of get that title first, because he's already kind of leading the charge, I guess, so far in as many titles as he's held in the company versus Bay. So you could kind of tell that, like, perhaps slow built story of like Bay is a little bit jealous of Austin and his success or whatever. post this or whatever, and he's just trying really hard to, catch up to Austin, and eventually he, challenges Austin in the digital media title space or something. That could be interesting, face versus face. Hey, I respectfully challenge you. I'm a little bit jealous, but hey, I respectfully challenge you, and you could make an interesting story where these guys are almost turning heel on each other. More so, that could be interesting. I almost kind of want to see that now. So yeah, but anyway, that is where I'm at with that. I think they're probably losing that one. I don't see Havoc and Rosemary winning, or DK winning the titles. I feel like they've hot potatoed those titles too much, and I feel like they really shouldn't hot potato those titles into Decay's hands. So yeah, it's tough because, again, like, their Knockouts tag team division is so thin, and it feels like, again, like I've said it so many times, that they should almost just give up on the titles and just like go, okay, we're just going to have a pure like singles division. So everyone's just going for the Knockouts title because, again, it keeps getting butchered up just to, have a Knockouts title match sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. Tough. Getting on to the main card, Joe Hendry versus Rich Swann, and then Rich Swann has AJ Francis. That is where I feel like this match might just come like to Rich Swann because he has AJ. So I don't know, like, the kind of big feud is between Hendry and Francis, as I've sort of said. So you kind of feel like it's got to continue. What's the payoff? How do they get there? That kind of thing. That's pretty tough. But for now, I feel like the whole thing revolves around AJ and is in Rich Swann's corner. So realistically, the idea here is for Hendry to kind of try to convert Swann back and say, hey, look, I'm sorry, or hey, look, he's just using you, or whatever, and all of this, and that sort of thing, and whatnot. So, and get Francis out of the way and convert Swann back to, being his buddy and doing that sort of thing or whatever. So, like, I think that's a long-form story. And it can't really, like, end here. This is, like, the beginning of it. And yet, how do you get there? You've got to get Francis out of the way, and you've got to get Joe to make Swann see the error of his ways and all that stuff, and you've got to get him to see that there's a better way or whatever else, all of that stuff. Or maybe you're not going to do that, but again, like that's the idea of it. So yeah, I see Swann winning just for the fact that this story isn't over, or it's not really percolating towards the end, and like you've got more to tell in that story than what Hendry winning here would do. And I think it would be great for Swann to, sort of do his own revenge tour type thing, beating Hendry, beating all the other people that kind of got in his way or whatever else, to being the champion. But then again, it's really tough because, again, it's like they need more baby faces in the top of the card. So maybe at some point, maybe you could have Joe win. But then, Swann interferes in a match with Joe or something, cost him the world title or whatever, that sort of thing. I don't know. So never say never, but yeah, like you could still even have that at some point where Joe happens to get a match somehow with the world champion. Again, maybe that's a TV match given the circumstances, but it'll still be a great match and it'll still elevate Hendry a bit, and again elevate the angle that he's in with Swan, and whatnot even more. So yeah, like you could keep this thing percolating for quite a while, I think, and really pay it off after good 6-8 months to a year or whatever. So yeah, EY versus Kaz, like realistically, as I said before, like they need more baby faces in that top of the card, which might be something to do with the lights out. We'll wait and see. Again, I'm hopeful. But, again, that might be where Gresham's coming in as well. Who knows? They've been hyping him up on the last few episodes. Kind of want to see him right here, right now. But I'm impatient, as are all wrestling fans. But still, yeah, I feel like EY's winning even if it's just for a TV match or something, even if it's for another B or C pay-per-view or whatever you want to call it. Just for the fact that, again, you need stopgaps. You need stopgaps in the story, and you need time to build other people who are more important, like Joe Hendry, because, again, he is the future, or one of the people that's in the future of this company, and everything that's going on in the whole thing. So yeah, I don't know. Well, tag team titles. Again, I feel like the System are winning. They're just sort of really at the beginning of their run, so I don't see Speedball Mountain winning those titles right here, right now. I do sense shenanigans, but whatever, it is what it is in that regard. So we'll know what that is, Alicia. But still, it'll be like everything on here. Like, again, from the bottom of the card, which I don't even know where you start, to the top of the card, it's all going to be really, really good matches and really good wrestling. So keep that in mind. But yeah, like this is, again, another one of those. Now, I feel like it's almost obvious that, in my opinion, that Mustafa Ali is retaining, at least for now. I don't know how much longer he's sticking around or whatever, all that shenanigans. We know that he's sticking around till the next pay-per-view or whatever. So, yes, he could lose it and could be defending it there, or trying to regain it there, but I don't see that. I don't see that Jake has the best story really going in, or any real reason to win that title quite yet. He's certainly on his way to being one of the top guys in the company. As I sort of said, I don't think that he needs the X Division title, and I don't think the X Division needs him. But I do not want to see the X Division have any limits put on it. I want to see the X Division do whatever it can to entertain the fans. And this is something that will entertain the fans. So this is exactly what the X Division should be doing, in my opinion, at times. So, again, I don't see Jake winning by lots of shenanigans, perhaps, but not winning still thusly. But we'll have to wait and see, because anything could happen in professional wrestling. Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone. I said Josh will probably, in my opinion, be winning this somehow, some way. So, again, I felt like almost Josh should be challenging Moose here at this pay-per-view, but whatever. It's cool. It's fine. I don't really worry about that. If he's facing him next month or whatever, or at Slammiversary, all cool. Or even at, I don't know, Bound for Glory, maybe, I don't know. So, but how do you like get Josh into another feud that really lasts that long? He really needs to be back in the title picture after this, I think so, because there's not that many other people that you could see being in the title picture straight away, besides perhaps EY. So, and Josh is a much more major player, especially in considering the future of the company. So, we'll have to keep our eyes on him going forward and getting that title shot soon. SDL versus Jordan Grace again, like, obviously in a lot of ways, again, a lot of these matches to me are pretty obvious, like, which way they're going, mostly because the story isn't really there. You can do shock upsets and things like that, obviously, and anything can happen in professional wrestling, as we all say. But hey, it is one of those things that, you know, this doesn't feel like it makes any sense in many ways, because SDL is not even a full-time member of the roster. So yeah, I don't know. And you don't know how long she's sticking around for. Like, with Mustafa Ali, like, we've said the same sort of thing. We don't know that he's sticking around for however long or whatever. But he can be a brand representative. And I'm sure that they've got him under a certain handshake agreement to stick around. SDL, like, this is probably, like, she's peaking. This is as high as she's been, like, anywhere, which is cool. But again, like, even if she's sticking around, it'd be nice to see her in the division, sticking around. But, like, without her sticking around, or without the knowledge that she's sticking around, or whatever, like, in all honesty, she should just stick around, because, like, eventually, if she did stick around, like, she can do her indies and whatnot, but if she stuck around in TNA, or, you know, anywhere more major, then, you know, like, and I get why she didn't stick around in some places, or couldn't stick around. It's not her fault or whatever. I'm not, you know, trying to say anything like that. I'm just saying, like, if you were able to stick around, you know, like, it would be beneficial, because, again, then you can get that consistency and get that build up to being, you know, a real legitimate person that the division is really based around. And then you get your name out there, you know, for your work, and consistency and reliability and all of that sort of stuff. You know, and yeah, then you just go on from there and just, you know, get to do more stuff, because now people go, oh man, you know, look at what we've been missing, you know, in this girl. So, you know, if she does a good, which I'm sure she'll do a good job in this match, but if she does a good job and sticks around, then she could have a really bright future, because, again, like, you know, now you're actually exposed to a national and an international audience, a global audience, and exposed to that audience on a consistent basis, not just, oh, I'm here 1 week, or I'm here this week, or I'm here this month, or whatever else it is. No, I'm here to stay, or whatever. I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to, you know, grit my teeth and, you know, hunker down, and we're going to make this work, or we're going to figure something out, or we're going to have other feuds with other people. Zaya Brookside is there. I don't see her being in the tag team division. So, and there's not that many other great baby faces for her to go against that aren't in tag teams, but still, she could almost have a mixed tag team thing going with Matt Cardona, so that could kind of be kind of interesting. I don't know. Yeah. We'll wait and see, but yeah, I don't see her winning. Same with Moose versus Nemeth, in my opinion, very straightforward. And again, you can make that argument and I sort of already made that argument on another video a bit, that it didn't really make the review video for this week's episode of TNA Impact, that it hasn't really made any sense, and I've said that a few times, for Nemeth to win here. There's some story behind what he's doing, certainly, not none, but there's not nearly enough, in my opinion. And if you do the thing with Nick Nemeth, making him the champion and letting him win, that's one good story, I guess. But honestly, it wasn't that good of a story because it was only a couple of months in build. But again, if you do something with him and keep him building and going up and that sort of thing, you can do more stuff with him. But then what do you do with Moose? Like, you have to show the descent of Moose and the system, and then you've only done that within the first few months. Again, you want to squeeze the lemon or the orange or the apple or whatever else it is to its fullest extent. You want to get all the juice out of that piece of fruit. And the system, their fruit has only just started to bud. I know I'm making lots of analogies here to fruit, but they've really just started their run of dominance in TNA, and you don't end it here. This is really where it's kind of still forming and building the building blocks of it. Moose has only held that title for a couple of months, which really isn't really a great title run, and he really needs to hold on to it for a long period of time and really establish himself as, the final boss within the company, being, flanked by the system, etc. Having the system, be the thing that people can't beat. They can't beat the system. They can't beat the numbers game, etc., etc. And again, I don't want to go too deep into it again because it does peeve me off. But again, the whole, TNA does bad booking stuff that people, constantly sort of bring up and whatnot. No, they don't. If you understand a story, the way that they, especially in the last couple of years, have booked has been really based on story. And yes, you could say that they've overbooked some things or whatever, but overbooking is usually a part of babyface things. And when WWE, again with Roman Reigns, has overbooked some of his matches with babyfaces and whatnot, people haven't batted an eye and haven't really complained about WWE overbooking things or WWE shooting themselves in the foot. Yes, they did when they said, Cody should have won here or whatever. But whatever, I think it told a better story, but that's, that's again the thing. Perhaps they weren't going to do it, but they did decide to pull that trigger and go in that direction in the end, or whatever. But still, that was a better story overall because they waited for it to percolate and build, for people to be begging for it and for people to be on their edge of their seat for it. Again, that's the same idea as what TNA is trying to do here, and people will be saying again, TNA is copying WWE's Bloodline angle. No, they're not. They're just using this tried and true formula of a faction, a dominant faction, and, up and coming baby faces. That's a tried and true formula since the mid-80s. So again, just because something similar has, been happening for the last few years in WWE doesn't mean you have to compare it to what's happening here in this company. Factions are a thing, and they're always going to be a thing. And you're always going to get these comparisons between factions and whatnot. So, yeah, but again, the people who say, they this or that about them overbooking or them, shooting themselves in the foot or not knowing how to tell a story or whatever, and, all that sort of stuff. You should have had this or you should have done that or whatever. the only way babyfaces and people get a hero is for that hero to have adversity. So if that hero doesn't really have adversity, i.e. if Nick Nemeth wins, where's his adversity? Like, he didn't really have that much, and he's won the title in the first couple of months of, like, debuting. If he loses, then he has adversity. He's got to build himself back up from the ground. He's got to go through, 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever else it is, get through the system somehow at a certain point later down the track, and then win the title. That's how his story, again, will culminate. That's how stories work, like, in my opinion. Like, if you don't do these things the right way, and you don't let your heel have, enough legitimacy, because, again, like, people will just bat their eyes and go, Moose who after this if Moose loses? That guy that just lost, But if Moose wins, they'll go, oh, shit, this Moose guy, like, he just beat Dolph Ziggler or whatever. Again, like, he just beat the ex-WWE guy. TNA's not pushing the ex-WWE guy right into the title. What is this? Like, and they're telling a great story while doing it, because, again, these are great stories. But people don't recognize that because they just want to poop all over TNA because it's TNA, and apparently it's all right to poop all over TNA. Even when they're basically doing just the same sort of thing that WWE is doing, and yet WWE is getting high praise from people from doing the thing that they're doing. No logic there. But that's how stupid the tribalism and whatnot is. Like, I have nothing against WWE. They've turned the corner and are doing some great things now since Triple H has taken over, but it's just not for me. Like, if you're somebody who's like, oh, yeah, they're doing some great stuff over there in TNA, but it's just not for me because I've already got my weekly wrestling program or whatever else it is that I watch, that's cool. It's these people that are just absolute, doomers and haters that I have the problem with. Yes, they do have problems. Yes, they could do some things better, whatever. But instead of sitting here and complaining about it, let's go, okay, well, how could they fix that? Let's make some suggestions. Let's give some constructive feedback, not just, oh, this was shit, oh, that was shit, blah, 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 oh, TNA shit, it might as well be sold to WWE because it's shit. The only good thing about it is the tape library because AJ Styles and all this. Like, get out of it. That's again, that, one narrative type thing that people have been fed, throughout all these other, YouTube channels and whatnot, that it's, all garbage and, all crap finishes and whatnot, and all overbooking and whatnot. Yet when WWE does it, and when WWE puts dog food on people, apparently that's okay, whatnot. I know that they stopped doing that, but again, TNA stopped doing a lot of the shit things that they stopped doing, but no one really says anything about that. They just think that TNA is going to do the same, bullshit that they've always apparently done. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, guys, that is the card, and those are my thoughts on the card, and we will be doing a live reaction stream to the show tomorrow. So be sure to tune into that, and I will have a video about the press conference that they did, and be going over the whole lights out promo that was kind of at the end of that. So I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I hope you will join me in that one, or join me again in another one.